Your four favorites are Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Amélie, Mulholland Drive, and House. I couldn't decide which movie was my top choice because there are four movies that I think are perfect for you. The Double Life of Veronique involves memory and romance like Eternal Sunshine. Like Amélie, it follows a woman with short brown hair, has a warm, almost golden color palette, and has a sort of whimsical quality to it. In fact, the top Letterboxd review for it is just Emo Amélie. It's about identity and doppelgangers like Mulholland Drive. And like Mulholland Drive and House, it has a sort of surreal, dreamlike atmosphere to it. Juliet of the Spirits, like Eternal Sunshine, is about memories. Like Amélie, it has an introspective female protagonist and some eccentric characters. Like Mulholland Drive and House, it has a surreal, haunting, dreamlike quality to it and blurs the line between reality and fantasy. Daisies has an unconventional plot structure like Eternal Sunshine. The protagonists are quirky, whimsical women like Amélie. It's surreal like Mulholland Drive. And like House, it has this chaotic, playful energy and leans into absurdism. Celine and Julie Go Boating also involves memory like Eternal Sunshine, has a whimsical, magical realism vibe like Amélie, follows two women and plays with the concept of identity like Mulholland Drive, and involves a mysterious house where strange things occur like House. Contempt is about a deteriorating relationship like Eternal Sunshine. There's a snippet of the score from this movie in Amélie, and this movie has a lot in common with Mulholland Drive, including characters that work in the film industry and the word silencio. I don't want to give all the parallels away, but there's a whole website that details the similarities. Open Your Eyes involves memories, romance, and some sci-fi elements like Eternal Sunshine, but it's also a thriller about identity and dreams like Mulholland Drive, and it plays with our perception of reality like House. Ruby Sparks is a romance film like Eternal Sunshine that incorporates magical realism like Amélie, and it involves identity control and idealization like Mulholland Drive. The One I Love is about a relationship that's falling apart like Eternal Sunshine, doppelgangers like Mulholland Drive, and a house where surreal things occur like House. Ritual is a surreal Japanese film like House. It has a fragmented, cyclical story structure like Eternal Sunshine. It has a quirky female character who's eccentric, socially withdrawn, and kind of lives in her own fantasy world like Amélie. And like Mulholland Drive, it blurs the line between fantasy and reality. There are two Robert Altman films I think fit the vibe of your favorites. Three Women, which is a fascinating, dreamlike exploration of shifting identities like Mulholland Drive, and Images, which involves doppelgangers and hallucinations like Mulholland Drive, but this one leans more into the horror genre like House. Since you like Eternal Sunshine, I definitely think you should check out Little Fish, which is another science fiction romance film about losing memories. Je t'aime was cited as an inspiration for Eternal Sunshine, and it's also a sci-fi romance film. I can definitely see the influence, but at the same time, it's a totally different story, so I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by it. Since you like Amélie, I think you'd enjoy Cinema Paradiso. On paper, these movies don't seem that comparable, but I feel like they have a similar style and tone, and they're kind of nostalgic and comforting or heartwarming. Delicatessen is a sci-fi film like Eternal Sunshine. One of the directors of this movie directed Amélie, and it has a similar style with some offbeat characters. Normally, I wouldn't recommend this one just because someone is a fan of Amélie, because I feel like it's a lot darker and weirder, but you have Mulholland Drive and House in your favorites, so I think it fits. Barton Fink is psychological and disorienting like Eternal Sunshine. It has a sort of quirky vibe to it like Amélie, but it's also dark, unsettling, surreal, and it's about Hollywood and rich with symbolism like Mulholland Drive, and it takes place in a hotel where bizarre things happen, kind of like The House in House. The Happiness of the Katakuris is a surreal Japanese horror comedy like House and has a similarly bizarre, chaotic energy. Speaking of movies with a chaotic energy, I think you should check out Tetsuo the Iron Man, which is a sci-fi film like Eternal Sunshine, a Japanese horror film like House, and a surreal nightmarish film like Mulholland Drive. Also, in your review for House, you praised it for its inventiveness and taking risks on such a low budget, so I really think you'll enjoy this one. Some of the effects and the style of House kind of remind me of V, especially the last act of this movie, and if you want another over-the-top horror comedy, I think you'd have a lot of fun with Braindead.